Hey, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday Boss Talks. This is episode 86. I have a great guest today, Dena Hendry. She is with Friedman Realty Group, and she is the director of marketing with them. She's only been in the role for not even a year, a few months, I think. Yeah. And I had the pleasure of meeting her right before she took that position. And we had a great talk and bonded over all things PTA and being a parent and all the things we're doing as we're also working. And we share a role. I am the director of marketing for my company, Community Boss. And before we get over to her, we have a great solution for you. We have some things that can really help you manage your physical spaces, whether that's your parking, amenities, or mapping. We have you covered. We can make it a great place for your residents to live in harmony with each other so that they can pick their parking spaces, the amenities when they want to use them. All self-serve and give you the opportunity to make some money through guest parking and your amenities as well. So if you have any questions, let me know. But today it's about Dena, so let's bring her to the show. Dena, thank you for being here so much. I know that, life happens and things have been going on for you, and it's okay because we can talk about Boss Talks and all the good things that are happening.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's absolutely a pleasure and a delight to be a guest with your show.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I look back at some of the messages, and you actually were watching some of the very early episodes. I can't remember which ones that you were showing interest in, but I know that fast forward, turns out we're connected in different ways. You are on the Latinas in Multifamily advisory board, and I've had the great pleasure of having them on the show, having Joe Ellis now twice, and Lori also. And so it has been great to get to know them. Even met Joe Ellis recently in Seattle. She was here doing some facilitation and such, and it was really great to meet her finally. So
I can't wait to meet her come NAA. So I am so excited. I've seen her via screen and, the inspiring messages that she sends to the group all the time. So I cannot wait.
Yeah. So before we get into other things, how did you guys get connected?
Whew. I got a message of, do I want to be a part of the group? And I messaged her back and I was like, I honestly don't know if I fit in per se. Because all throughout growing up, yes, I am first generation American on my dad's side and second generation American on my mom's side. And I'm Puerto Rican and Cuban. But I have always had this thought process that I wasn't Hispanic enough in a sense. And I was just like, I don't speak Spanish. That's number one. Let's just get that out there. I don't speak Spanish. And she was just like, it's absolutely cool. We had a video chat and told her, what my concerns were. And she said they were absolutely valid. But at the same time, it's not what I am or who I am. It's the fact that what I stand for is why I belong in that association with amazing women. And I thought about it and I was just like, yeah, I belong. So I decided that, yes, I would love to accept the advisory board member for Latinas in property management and also spread the word and hopefully grow the organization and not just have it be Florida, but also nationwide as it deserves to be.
No, that's awesome. And it's interesting. So I didn't know that about you, that you were Puerto Rican and Cuban, which is cool. No, so my wife is actually mixed. She's white and Mexican.
Okay.
And she has a similar experience to you where she doesn't speak Spanish. She's learning and learned some Spanish, but she didn't grow up speaking it. And so she always had a similar feeling of like not fitting in, so to speak, or feeling awkward in situations. And so she's actually doing something, and I'll tell you about this later, and maybe I'll put it in the chat, because what she's been doing is this immersion, well, not immersion, it's a program learning Spanish with people in the same boat. They're Hispanic, but don't know Spanish. And they have the same experience of like feeling like I feel awkward in these situations. And anyway,
It is, yeah, there's a definitely awkwardness. Like for instance, like both sets of my grandparents, of course, they're unfortunately all deceased, but they spoke English. They spoke English to us and they communicated with us. And my dad always would say, girls, I'm the oldest of three girls, and he would say, girls, you should learn another language, you should learn Spanish. It's very beneficial and things. And I would learn in school. I can understand pretty well. I can say simple conversational things, but to have a full fledged conversation, it's not going to happen. When my grandmother was alive, there was different things that I would say. My sister and I would speak Spanish to her, and basically, unfortunately, a sick game. It was, speaking Spanish to her and have her emotions, and who could kind of make her cry first, because she would be so proud to say like muchos besos or te quiero mucho or bendición, even though I still say that word wrong. And she would just be so prideful of it. But to be honest, it was something that I just didn't think I needed. Looking back, I could say I probably should have studied more, because especially in this field, it would have gotten me a lot further.
Yeah. But I mean, well, I'll share the group with you, because maybe it'll be something you want to take a look at, because it is something my wife's been really excited about it. So
all right, I'm willing to try anything. I love learning and growing. So
yeah, and they have a podcast and all the things. So, anyways, I'll make sure I share the information, because I don't remember what it's called. But but yeah, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for sharing a little bit about all that. Before we get any further, I'd love to just ask you some questions that I ask all my guests. Kicking it off with, when it comes to building community, what are some ways that you get involved in your personal and professional life to build community with people?
Professionally, it's being a part of the associations. It's being involved and joining committees and going to events and being a really good client to our supplier partners. So that's what I do professionally, along with, doing continuing education. Personally, being a part of the PTA, I believe that not only I need to be invested, as I'm invested in my career, I also need to be invested in my children's education. And that also means not only just checking in with teachers, but doing the fun stuff, or sometimes not so fun stuff, about the PTA, and going to school board meetings and just regularly showing up. I think showing up is the best thing that you can do, not only professionally, but also personally. When you show up, that just means that you care and that you are fully invested and want to be involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we shared a little bit in our call a few months ago. You and I are both on the board of our PTA. Are you the president?
No, I
Oh,
am not the president.
okay,
Our president's amazing. I am the
okay,
vice president. I support the president.
okay,
I am the person that says, you know what, that's a great idea. Or in the event that the president is having a tough day, she'll call me and say, Dena, A, B, and C. And I would say no or yay. Or sometimes I have to be the heavy and just say, we're not going to do it this way,
yeah,
to support our president. So no,
yeah,
vice president.
okay. Yeah, so I jumped in. This is the first time I've ever been on the board for the PTA. My wife and I are sharing the president role. Um, we've learned a lot. We like, I have no desire to be a part of like drama and stuff. But for some reason that's found us in a little pocket here and there when it comes to the PTA. But we've ground through it. We've probably been doing things different than past years, especially not being involved until now. So some people have a hard time with that. So
Listen, nobody likes change, whether it's personally or professionally. Change is something that we kind of like shy away from and just get really upset. But it is what it is. And as I say, if you have an opinion about it, especially at the PTA, if you have an opinion about it, then volunteer and then you run it. But
Right.
typically that happens, and then nobody's running anything. So that shuts
Right.
them up.
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah. What I've learned too is like being someone that is, full time. Both of us work full time.
Hmm.
It's like you also are like a pretty stereotypical thing is to have people that are more stay at home parents that are on the PTA. And we're not that. And nobody on our board is that. And so we're making this so that everybody can participate and not just people that have a lot of time.
And that's the other thing with it is all of the moms, and I believe next year there's going to be a dad, but all the moms, we all work, whether it's full-time, part-time. And I always get the question, or like, how do you do it all? And I can't really do it all.
Yeah.
I don't get to do the fun things per se. I do the behind the scene things, whether it's making a flyer, or now it's organizing the yearbook for the fifth grade. So I get to do those behind the scene things, but it is something that I think culturally we all work full time, right? You
Mhm.
have to have two incomes.
Yeah.
And it is really hard to be invested and involved. And I get it if you don't have some sort of support system. And for me, it's my husband. My husband is absolutely wonderful. He knows that this is what I like to do. I like to be involved. And at the same time, when something kind of is little, wonky, he'll say, I wish I knew somebody who goes to school board meetings to say that. And it's just like, whatever. But you have to, in order to do it all, you have to have a village, and you have to have a really great support system. And I'm lucky enough to have that.
No, that's great. Well, we'll get into that stuff a little bit more, I'm sure. But next question I have for you is when you have somebody over for dinner and you want to really make them feel special, really shower them with hospitality, what is it that you would make for them as a meal?
I'm gonna be honest. If it's not coming from a crock pot, I'm not making anything.
Beautiful. So what's your favorite go-to crock pot meal?
So for me, and my dad, he hates it, but I love a good like set it and forget it. Because here's the thing: if I have somebody coming over, either I'm going to order takeout or I'm going to put something in a crock pot. So therefore, I can spend time, talking to them and entertaining them in a say, because we don't get to hang out a lot. So why am I going to be all over in the kitchen where I could just like set it and forget it, or have
Yeah.
something takeout? What do I like best? My son loves Olive Garden chicken, and that is Olive Garden dressing with chicken breasts, Parmesan cheese, and cream cheese. And you just set it, forget it, and then you either cook it with rice or pasta.
I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, so I've been the single dad the last few days. My wife's actually on a trip. And
Mm.
so I've been using the instant pot
Okay.
and, whatever else to make it easy. So, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. You can't you can't make everything from scratch all the time. It takes too long.
It takes too long. We during the week we have HelloFresh being delivered,
Okay.
and so our meals are planned out. And my husband's absolutely wonderful, and he cooks the meals and he follows the instructions really well to a T. Where I'm like, I think you can add a little bit more butter, or
Yeah.
maybe you should add this. No, he does it to a T. So HelloFresh. So
Yeah. I know I'm not a single dad. I was single
you
dad
have no empathy for
for
the single
4
parent.
days.
Yeah, it seemed like years.
Yeah. No, it's been great. My kids are great. They haven't been too much or anything, so it's been awesome.
And how old are your kids?
Mine are, let's see, my oldest is 12. I got a 10-year-old and then about to have an 8-year-old.
Very nice.
Yep. All boys.
Same here. 12, 10, and 10.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. You have the twins.
Yeah.
So you had one and then twins.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't planned that way.
Yeah.
As I like to joke around and say, that's one BOGO that I wasn't hoping for. But at the same time, it is a blessing to have 3 great children. They're healthy. They're healthy. They're healthy. They're absolutely healthy children. Do they give us a run for our money? Absolutely. Do I feel that I am a referee at a WWE match? Absolutely. Would I wish to have a little girl? Yes, but then I would be broke. So somebody knew what they were doing by giving me 3 boys.
Oh, that's funny. WWE match. That's good.
Yes. All the time.
Yeah. Yeah, especially having the 2 that are the same age,
They're
that
only
means,
20 months apart, so it's like having triplets.
oh wow. Yeah, that is nuts. That's funny. All right. Well, I mean, at least they can be friends, right? Like they can actually like be the same age and like the same things and all that kind of stuff.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. I can't even imagine twins, to be honest. Like, especially the whole baby stage of that. Like, oh my goodness. And you
Yeah,
were sharing before the show, you guys were living in a 2-bedroom.
we were overoccupied, so we were definitely a lease violation. But luckily, we had a private landlord, so didn't really think about that. But no, we were living in a 2-bedroom with the 5 of us. The twins were 6 months when we moved in, and they were 8 when we moved out.
Yeah, that's crazy. You were living there up until you moved into where you are now?
Yes. So all children were born in South Florida. I was working with CORT Furniture at the time, and we realized that we were outnumbered, right? 3 kids, 2 parents. My family lives in the Poconos, and my husband's family lives in England, and we were outnumbered. And my husband was working for the YMCA at the time, and non-for-profit world was great. It's great for a great cause, but at the same time, it's a long hours, and having 3 children and both of us working full time, we realized that we needed a change. And so he had an opportunity either in South Jersey or in England. And we chose South Jersey instead of England because in England, there's no free refills of soda. So we chose New Jersey.
That was the decision maker.
That was a defining moment. It was just like, and ice. There's no ice or free refills.
Yeah. What's up with that? No ice?
I don't
Like, it's pretty standard here.
Pretty standard.
That's crazy. Well, I know that being in and you're near Philly, right? Like you're literally,
Yep.
So when I saw your LinkedIn said Philly, I was like, wait, what?
Did
I
she
thought you
move?
were in New
No, it's the
Jersey.
greater Philly area.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, so what this also means is you are the first in kicking off a lot of my guests in the next few months leading up to NAA and Apartmentalize are going to be from kind of the Northeast, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, things like that. Want to really showcase you guys up there. And
Shut the front door. I did not know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, so you're kicking it off.
Thanks.
So
everybody can only get better from here, though.
I don't know about that. I think you're doing great things at what you're both personally and professionally, and I think in your new role too. I know you've been really excited about having this opportunity, and so to really shine in what you're doing.
Excellent. I hope.
Oh, I'm sure you're doing great. All right, and then last question, and then we'll get right back into all things leadership and all the fun that we want to get into. What is your caffeinated beverage of choice?
A nice cold fountain Coke.
With ice.
Lots of it. Yes. Yes. And
So no
it could be a McDonald's Coca-Cola.
okay.
It could be from Wawa. I think a fountain Coke, it hits really good.
Okay. Yeah, as long as they have the right balance, because there's sometimes where the club soda or whatever
Uh-huh.
is overpowering and they forgot to mix it well. There's always that. But somebody said, and I don't know if you agree, that they feel that, what is it? I think they said Chick-fil-A has the best fountain drink because of their whole mix of having a styrofoam cup, which is terrible, but and so it's nice and cold.
Or the little nugget ice. That could be it. I mean,
Oh, that's
they do
true.
have good ice.
Yeah. It's a good combo. So no coffee for you though.
I will have coffee, but if I'm having a caffeinated beverage, it's definitely a Coke.
Okay. Got it. All right. Well, you're going to get some coffee. It'll come to you shortly.
Okay.
Just need your address and we'll get that right to you. But we have our own coffee, Boss Blend.
Very nice. That sounds amazing.
And so far people enjoy it. So
Excellent.
we'll keep sending it till we know otherwise. All right. Well, Dena, it's time to jump in. The first thing that you added to your list of things that are passionate about is adding fun in your learning and growing.
Absolutely. I love adding fun when we learn and grow. A great example is 2 weeks ago, we did a leasing class and having a theme, and it was blooming into leasing season. So, what better way to bloom into leasing season with some flowers? And I believe that when you add an element of fun, it doesn't make it so dreading, because at the same time, how can you tell individuals who have been in this industry for years, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, that, hey, we're going to go doing phone skills again? And they're saying, I know phone skills. I can do this in my sleep. But you have to sometimes brush up, and you have to sometimes refine your skills, and a better way to get that done is through fun.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're falling asleep while this is taking place, it's not really sinking in, right? Like some fun, some humor, some interaction, movement. Like you got to make sure the blood's still going.
Yeah.
I know that's for sure important. So what are some things like you when it comes to your trainings and things for marketing and whatnot? You were just mentioning like phone skills and stuff. What are some things that you've noticed need some brushing up, like things that tend to be forgotten, the basics, so to speak?
That is an absolutely excellent question, because let's face it, you know, before COVID, we had the sales momentum where you had the steps and you had the follow up. And then COVID happened, and a lot of leasing professionals, we just became order takers, because apartments were in need, and a phone call would come in and was just like, do you have a 2 bedroom? And you didn't have to go through the motions, and you didn't have to go through the steps. Now 2024, COVID is done, hopefully, and we have to become salespeople again. We have
Mm,
to romance the prospective residents to let them know that why we are the best choice that they can call home, because there's a lot of choices, and our prospective residents are doing their homework now. They're going on websites, they're looking at reviews, they're going on Facebook, they're asking the questions, where should I call home? So one way that you set yourself apart is the leasing professional, right? Because they all have a washer and dryer, or they all have a kitchen, but they all don't have you. So what I try to do with my teams is let them know that they are the difference. They are the reason why that prospective resident is going to call them home. And I think that's important to let them know that they have that sheer responsibility and it's really in their hands.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you're right. It was really easy to lease things there for a bit. And we were moving everything towards, like self-service or doing virtual tours and things like that. And I mean, that worked during the time it needed to work. But I think, that tool will still exist moving
Nothing will
forward.
ever replace the human touch of it per
Oh,
se,
yeah.
right? So you have AI that is great for enhancements and great in putting that lead down the funnel. But at the same time, our residents want to talk to somebody when they have a question, a specific question. They want to talk to an individual who's going to understand and relate to them. And leasing professionals who have been in this role before COVID and during COVID need to understand that there is a process and it's no longer maybe one follow up or two follow ups. It's going to take anywhere between 5 to 10 touches before that prospective resident says, yes, I'm going to come in for a tour, or yes, I'm ready to call you home. It's just the fact that we have become so impatient,
Yeah.
and patience, grasshopper, it will come.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think when you have a good connection with somebody during the process of moving in, that's setting the standard of what they expect while living there, and may be something, if they continue having a good experience with another human that works there, that are the leasing professionals, the office, then the maintenance folks, like those are, if it was just a robot or something, that wouldn't be a connection. It would just be like it got done. But like actually having a relationship that you build to an extent, is something where like, oh, I enjoy going to the office or talking to the manager if they're good at their job.
True story. I mean, the odds are against us in a sense, right? Think about it. When you have a bad experience, you're going to tell anybody who listens, right? I mean, and nowadays it's on Facebook, right? The moment that you are having a bad experience, you're typing your thumbs and you're just saying, and spitting it out to everybody. But how often, when you have like an amazing experience, do you tell somebody? You may tell a person, you
Hmm.
may leave a Google review, but it's not the same. So you have to try to find a way to combat it, because the good experiences are not being shared as often as the bad experiences.
Right. Which means you need to work harder to have more good experiences so that the bad experiences are less. So gotta, and that's why we have to get back to training people and making sure everybody's doing blocking and tackling, doing the basics, doing them really well though, and that's just
Correct.
everything. So yeah, it's super important. Is there anything new in the marketing realm on the operations side that you've seen that are tools or other things that have been helpful?
I mean, for right now, I'm really lucky that being a part of Freeman Realty Group, I am the marketing department, but at the same time, Freeman is saying, we understand that you're one person. So we are providing you all these tools and enhancements to help you. I love Soshi. Soshi's been amazing, whether it's posting, whether it's review management. Um, Satisfax, also great for reviews, and also using resume and having that lead nurturing, because let's face it, when somebody is at 1 o'clock in the morning apartment shopping, they're window shopping, right?
Mhm.
And they're putting in their information so they can get further down the gates, let's say. And when you come in the morning, you see, oh, Molly Moo's looking for an apartment, I'm going to reach out to her. but Molly's not reaching back out to you, right? And so you're going to keep calling and you're going to email, you're going to call and you're going to email. But having a system that nurtures those leads, those window shoppers, it will help them finally make that purchase.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to have the right tools in your tool belt. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's knowing how to use them though, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of things we even have. And what I'm learning in my role is making sure my people know how to use things to the
Yeah.
full extent, because either that means I have to do everything for them, or we're just not using these things that are expensive to the full extent. So
It's an investment, and you have to ensure that everybody understands what the product can help with and what the limitations are and how you can utilize it properly.
yeah, absolutely. Well, that's great. So another thing that I know that you're pretty passionate about is the role of leader or leadership, and incorporating being the cheerleader more than anything. And so what does that mean for you? Like, when did that kind of click for you, and what's that mean?
Whew. So early on, and even just as a teenager, I have always gravitated towards some sort of leadership role, being a lifeguard, being the head lifeguard, and going down that road. And I used to have the mentality where, it is what it is, and that's it. Rules are from birth to death. And it wasn't through as I learned and I grew and being in different teams where it was just like, wait a second, you're going to quickly have zero team if this is the mentality that you have, right? You're going to churn and burn. And let's face it, interviewing for candidates is not the best thing, especially in the previous job market where it was like the Hunger Games. So it was about 3 years ago when I realized, wait a second. Yes, I am a leader, but I am responsible for the success of the leasing professionals that were on the teams. And in order for them to be successful, it's not me saying, oh, you have to do this. It's me saying, let's do this. Let's do this together. How can I help you? How can I make you succeed? How can I get you to where you want to be? Because let's face it, the apartments are the reason why we're here, but it's the people that help us keep getting residents, keep retaining residents. And if we have a revolving door of leasing professionals and team members, it's not a good look. So it was about 3 years ago when I was like, you know what? I'm not just a leader, I'm a cheerleader. I'm here to pump them up, to get them excited, to give them the tools that will get them to their own goals. I need to know if they were to resign today, what would it be? Would it be because there's not job opportunity, like job growth? Is it because maybe they are stressed out? What can I do to help them get to where they want to be?
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, I've had some really bad managers that they just, this is more early on in my life of professional work, but they hardly had any time for me. They didn't provide any like developmental tips, or like, hey, this is what you should work on. It was like I saw them when we had a review. And it was like, oh, this is super fun. I really appreciate you telling me how I should work, even though you never talked to me. That's really great.
Correct. I mean, it's so I left Hilton, right? And I had leasing professionals that were on my team. I saw at the PAA trade show and conference, and just having them say thank you, or having former team members just be appreciative, to say, you know what, I realize now what you did, and I appreciate you and thank you. That meant a lot. I am a mushball by nature, and it was just like, please stop. Now you're going to make me cry. But for somebody to say, you know what, you helped me get to my next level, that means a lot. Whether it's with the team that I'm on or their next team, to know that I helped them get to where they want to be is absolutely rewarding.
Oh, absolutely. And I gotta imagine that a lot of that has to feed into how you became the, what is it, the new, uh, what's your association? New Jersey Apartment Association?
New Jersey Apartment. Oh, so I belong to two in a sense. I belong to the New
Okay.
Jersey Apartment Association and the Pennsylvania Apartment Association.
Okay. But this last year, you were the Garden State 2023 Corporate Professional of the Year.
Yeah, that was
What,
amazing.
what, so what goes into that? What's the process and how did you?
So to be nominated was absolutely amazing. Was a complete surprise. And when the leadership team at Hilton told me, "Hey, we're nominating you for this," I was like, "Really?" I said, "Me?" And that was amazing. It was to know that that's what oh my god, I feel like I'm about to cry. To know that's how high they thought of me was so cool. Um, so I had an interview with the New Jersey Apartment Association. They asked me a couple questions, and that's how I scored. And I was like, just to be nominated was really cool, but to actually have my name called and win, and to walk up under and to accept that reward was amazing. It was truly um it was nice. It was nice to say that, you know what, I've put in the work, and it's all worth it. And to have somebody think of me in that way was amazing.
No, that's awesome. So what are some of the things that they called out about you? I know this is sometimes awkward to say how awesome you are, but what what were they what were they saying about you that
So the
really stood out?
luckily it's not like a roast, right? Luckily it's
Yeah,
not like somebody, saying, "Hey, Dina does X, Y, and Z." It's
yeah.
just like a slew of names, and that they're just going and going and going. But really it's just, where I saw myself, where what my leadership style was, what my thought process is, how do I value being a part of the apartment association, things like that. That was truly the pinnacle of the whole entire interview process.
Okay, that's awesome. So
Yes.
you won last year. Had you been nominated or gotten any awards prior to that?
No, no, I mean, I've been a part of this multifamily industry since 2007,
Mhm.
and never was nominated for anything. I had properties, being in categories, and that's exciting because you feel like that you've done something with it. But I never, me personally, was in nominated for an award. So when leadership at Hilton was just like, "This is what we're doing," that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that must have felt really good and really given you, like, maybe even helped you think, well, what do I want to do? What do I want to be when I grow up? Where where do I want to work?
It gave me the confidence that I've always lacked, you know? I believe that I suffer from imposter syndrome. Like, I'm not good enough to be in a room, like, I'm not good enough to, like, do this with you. Like, this is still,
Yeah,
like amazing that here I am with you, and that you would want to talk to me. Like, who's Dina? Like, who am I? But at the same time, um personally and professionally, it was like, wow, I am a grown up. Like, I am worthy and I can do this.
Yeah. No, it's really nice to have that kind of stuff happen, because I tend to have the same thing that I run through, right? Even doing this show, right? When I first started doing it, I've said this a lot, but I didn't necessarily want people to see it. I know that sounds a little kind of weird, but it was because I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself and being able to do it, because I never even thought to do something like this in my life, like to do a show, to be on camera every week on the internet, people seeing me. So I had a lot of, I think, I know what you're saying. Like it's hard to want to like push yourself beyond certain things, or like put yourself out there, be on camera, do things like that. And think people want to hear what I have to say, or they're going to tune in, or they're going to even care what I'm
Yeah,
doing.
I mean, I had messaged you and I said, I'm not inviting anybody because it's just weird to me. But I posted it on LinkedIn and I posted it on my Facebook, and made it. When I get uncomfortable, I combat that with humor in a sense. And I said, if you're placing bets to see when I'm going to puke, tune in at 3 o'clock today. And that was just me saying, I'm doing this. I'm excited, but I'm also nervous, and I could seriously yak right now. So yeah,
Well, so far so good. Nothing's
so
happened.
far so good. Yes.
Yeah, I think you're doing great. You don't seem nervous, so I
No,
think you're.
as I tell a lot of people, I am the most introverted, extroverted person that you'll probably ever meet. Yes, I can carry a conversation, and I think you need that in the multifamily industry, right? You need to be able to carry a conversation with anybody. You need to find some kind of common ground and bond, and then kind of make it into a sales pitch.
Yeah,
But at the same time, the amount of pep talks that you have to maybe give yourself, that's me.
yeah.
And that happened starting at 2 o'clock today. I'm lying. It started all day today. It was just like, you can do this. And then also, when there's a monkey wrench in the situation, like I am home right now, because my oldest had his appendix taken out.
Yeah,
It's like, all right, we pivot. And that's the multifamily industry, right? How many times do you have your day set up? I'm going to do A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And then all of a sudden, something happens, whether it's a sprinkler or whether it's a resident that comes in. So I guess we're really great in pivoting. But at the
mm,
same time, we are not very good at times when things don't go our way.
yeah. No, and I'm actually right there with you. I'm the same. I'm extroverted introvert.
Yeah.
Doesn't actually
It
make any
doesn't, it's an
sense.
oxymoron, but at the same
Yeah,
time, it's so true though.
yeah. Or I like to say an outgoing introvert,
Okay.
because I really like people. You'll see me at like a trade show. I'll talk to a lot of people, but I will be exhausted. Is the thing
It
later?
is. And I don't know what your spouse does, but as great as supportive that my husband is, he doesn't understand that when I come home, especially from a conference or some sort of event, that I just need quiet and I just need to just shh. Because being on is exhausting. Being on and outgoing and happy and talking all the time and making decisions is exhausting. And especially, what we do, especially on site teams, it's important that when you have to be on all the time, that you have some sort of outlet and you do self care. And I'm a strong advocate for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And when you like people and it exhausts you, that's really challenging to remember to do the self-care, because it's like you're putting yourself in really in positions and situations, being leadership, doing PTA, being a leader in your company. Um, they're all things that are going to suck the life out of you. And you're like, I like it though. And then you were like, oh, but why am I so tired? Like,
Why am I just aimlessly scrolling through my phone? It's just because I just need to just chillax for a
disconnect.
second. Yes.
Yep. Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, for sure. So, by the way, do you know Mark? Do you see the comments?
I will look. Oh,
Yeah,
holy sugar. Why?
there's comments.
There's comments. Holy fudge. Oh my God.
I should have pointed that out to you earlier. Sorry about that. Yeah, you have an audience. There are people here. They
We're
showed up
gonna
for you.
Am I the
She's like,
first
oh
person
no,
to
there's
come on
people
the
here
show?
now. Crap.
And done. Good job, Evan. You made me cry.
uh, but yeah, Mark at the end there. So do you know Mark? He actually reached out to me and messaged me and wanted to make sure he could get on the show. So I gave him some information.
Very
But
nice. I do know Mark. So Mark is a supportive husband of Tammy. And Tammy what is the associate director at Hilton, where I
okay.
just left. And she is my mentor in a sense. It's funny, and she would probably say that how I came to Hilton and how I left Hilton was completely two different people.
Hmm,
Um, and at the same time, I have learned so much from her, and she learned from me to have a little fun. And so since then, an amazing leader. But now we are friends, and we talk, and we ask each other advice and bounce off ideas. It's like I never left in a sense. So if anything, she's my biggest cheerleader besides my sister and my
that's
husband.
great. Well, it looks like Mark, it must be his wife who's saying this, but saying that it was always a pleasure to work with you. So that's always nice to hear.
It is.
So what's the biggest thing that you learned from her when it comes to like mentorship?
The biggest thing that I learned from Tammy was her detail, her that sometimes you don't need the fluff in a sense.
Mm,
I write an email and it's very fluffy. Everything I do is fluffy. Then again, I am very fluffy. So she taught me that sometimes you need to be straight to the point. And you know, doing things and understanding and being able to convey the reason behind it. So you can't just have a policy. You have to be able to convey why the policy is. And Tammy's absolutely excellent in doing that. She can write an SOP like you wouldn't believe. Tammy is somebody who will take a C+ student and make him an A because she wants you to understand the reasoning behind everything. So I definitely learned and grew so much from Tammy.
that's great. Yeah, details, man. I can learn from those people.
I
I'm
will
so
tell you
much.
when I interviewed at Hilton, it was on my 40th birthday. And it was a snowstorm. And so I had to present. I had to do a presentation at Hilton. I had to do like what a class would be with me. And it was Tammy Scott, who is the director of residential, and Mark Fife, who was a property or still is a property manager at Princeton Arms. And I'm doing my thing and whatever. And Scott says, "Oh, you remind me of Kate Good." And I thought that was like such a compliment because she's amazing. And they asked me some more questions, and Scott says to Tammy, "Tammy, do you have any other questions for Dena?" And It reminded me of The Devil Wears Prada. She had glasses on, and like she looked through her like through her glasses, like in her nose, and she's like, "No, I'm good." And I was like, "Oh my god, I just tanked this interview." Like it reminded me of Miranda Priestley that she's like, "Okay, goodbye." And I was like, "Holy jeez." And she came in like with a pencil skirt and heels, and I was just like, "That's just not me." That I'm wearing flats, and it's just not me. But I had told her that like 2 years later after I joined the team, about my intimidating impression of her, and she laughed.
So
But I was
she
like,
is
"Oh my god."
so she's definitely different, like personality wise and all, like really is
Yeah,
somebody that can.
I think I brought to her that you need to have that level of fun,
Okay.
and it goes a long way, and a theme, and during my time at Hilton and now at Friedman, in doing the Sunshine Club, and for the solar eclipse, buying glasses and having moon pies and things like that. Those small things go a long way.
No, they do. People appreciate it. It may seem silly, a lot of this, that kind of stuff, but they're unexpected things. So people
Yeah.
are like, "Oh, that was thoughtful," like to even do anything like that is really great. That's awesome. Well, it's always good to have mentors. I don't know, are you in the mentor group by
I
chance?
am. I am in the mentor group. With everything going on, I have not picked anybody else to mentor or be a mentee. I'm just for the snacks, even though there's no snacks. I'm just there for
That's
the
okay.
seminars.
That's okay. There's still those are all very valuable still too. So
Yeah,
it all works out. But yeah, I've had the pleasure of having some great conversations with a few people. Faith Barker, her and I, all last year were meeting. It's been a minute since we've talked again, but uh, sometimes that's how they work out. But again, it was valuable when we were doing it. So
absolutely.
um, and sometimes these mentor relationships only last for a certain amount of time because they meet their purpose or whatever it is, and
But if
you
you
move.
can gain one thing
Oh,
from
for
somebody
sure.
when you have that conversation with them, it meant something and it was
Yeah,
worth your while.
totally. Yeah. No, it's so great to talk to new people. I mean, I guess part of it too is like I have the privilege of doing this, and so it's almost like I'm learning and almost getting mentored every week by great people like you. So I'm learning things. I am being able to like apply new nuggets to my life and my job, and like learn about the industry, learn about professional things. And I mean, I can't, I feel very lucky and almost a little bit like it's a selfish thing for me because I get to learn so much from you guys. So
Amazing. Hopefully I gave you more than a four-piece nugget. You know, but that's truly lovely to say.
yeah, no, it's very true. Like there's so much I've gained from doing this show, and I hope other people, as they come across it, they feel the same. And I just recently got a thank you card in the mail, from somebody that was on the show. They said some really nice things, and it's something that allows me to continue because I'm like, well, people are getting things out of this, and it may not be like thousands of people that are watching or whatever. I don't even know because analytics are wonky, but um, at the end of the day, it is providing something positive for people. So I really do.
Absolutely. If one person was impacted about what you were doing, then that's one person,
Right.
and it only takes one, right? It only takes one person to share a message, and you never know that one person is going to turn into 1,000 people. But like for myself, I am just Dena. I am somebody who says sometimes off the wall things, because I do curse like a sailor, and that's just me being not saying something that I shouldn't be saying. But at the same time, I do things in a way where I dumb it down for myself. So therefore I can then teach it to others. And so I can pass it on to others. And it's all about learning and growing and connecting and engaging. And if you can do those four things throughout your whole entire life, then you're never going to be stagnant. And nobody should ever be satisfied in just being in one box for the rest of their life. And you have to learn and grow, because if you don't, you're going to be as outdated as an Atari system.
Yeah. No, for sure. You got to always be growing. You always got to be learning from other people. I mean, honestly, I feel like the best way to learn is from others, because their experiences, you can, if you're observant, especially the people that you're closest to, that are, maybe they're not in your family, but they're over here, and you know them well enough to know like their life, right? If you can learn from people and their experiences and their mistakes and the things they learn from that, and you don't have to do that, you don't have to go through that. Like, to me, that's invaluable. Like, why would you want to go through bad things if you can avoid it, right?
And the other thing is your reputation. Let's face it, in the multifamily industry, it is so small. And I always say nobody dies in this industry, right? We all get reincarnated into something else. I started off as a leasing professional in Charlotte, North Carolina, and then went on to the vendor side, right? And still in
Yep.
property management, still dealing with and understanding the points of pain and the successes, and then going back to the property management side, and now being with three different teams since being, up this way. You see supplier partners and you see management professionals. And if you are the type of person that is only there at an event to have your 2 drink tickets and to be a slopopotamus, your reputation is going to be something that is not going to get you to your next level.
Right.
I was asked in July of last year to talk at a roundtable, and I'm like, who, me? You want me? And to have my name be brought up in a room where I'm not in, that to me was just like, wow. I pride myself where my reputation is somebody who is wanting to learn and grow and wanting to love this industry to its fullest. But I'm not there for the 2 drink tickets, because I'm there to get something out of the education that's being provided to me on my company's dime.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what you said about, you're like, when you're not in a room but you're being talked about positively and then you hear about it. I mean, that's amazing. I've never personally had that happen until starting to do the show, because I would hear about them talking about in another, virtual setting, being on the show and it being a good experience or whatever. I'm not even there. They're not trying to puff me up. I'm not there. But it's like, it's so great and like helps you as a person to hear that, oh, when I'm not present, people talk about me, and it's a good thing.
Unless if you ask my children, when they talk about me, it's like they don't want me there anyway. So I think that's the only people that don't like me are my children, or maybe some pesky PTA moms. But other than that, I'm okay.
Yeah. No. Yeah. The drama. The drama in the PTA world. It's so funny. One thing that you told me actually off camera, I think the first time we talked, was just the idea of, I was earlier on in my PTA involvement, and you were like, yeah, I mean, you're going to do it the way you're going to do it. And if they want to do something different, then they should step in and do it. Like, what you gave it a name and I can't even remember what it was, but
Oh
it was
no,
humorous
I
at
mean,
the time.
it's those I I have many different names. It's those moment stealers, you know.
Yeah.
They're the fourth quarter quarterbacks that said, "Oh, you should have done this differently." Dude, if you want it done differently, I would love for you to volunteer because I
Yes.
have 10 other things that I have to get done. Either that or I'm going to volunteer my husband to do it, which he's usually not happy about it. But when we are staffed in a PTA event and I need set up, I will volunteer my husband. I say, hey, I need you to help here. And he's just like, can't somebody do it? I'm like, this one has a game, this one flaked out, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. He secretly loves it.
I'll ask him. I don't think so, but
I'm sure he enjoys doing something that makes your kids experience better. I mean, that's kind of like why I do it, right? Like at the end of the day, you know, I want to make sure my kids have a good experience at their school.
and it's not
So,
just your kids, it's all the
yeah,
children. You know, you have the
totally.
interest of all the children and the teachers. Hey, by the way, don't forget Teacher Appreciation Week is coming up. So make
Yep.
sure you have that whole week lined up.
Uh,
And I can give you ideas if you need. But I mean,
yeah.
it's you're in it for all the children, right? And you're in it for all the teachers. Just like, you know, we do what we do because we're in it for our team and we're in it for our residents and we're in it for our industry that we just want to keep helping each other and get better. It's no
Mhm.
different.
Yep. No different at all. Well, Dina, I don't know if you know this, but it's been an hour. You made it. No,
And I
no,
did not puke.
you
So
didn't
whew,
puke. You have an audience. There's people still here. They
still
stuck with
here.
us.
They didn't
Yep.
leave.
Nope. Here to the end. So I just want to say thank you so much for being here. And
Thank you so much for having me. It was nerve-wracking and fun all at the same time.
no, well, and this is just going to be the kickoff for more for you. So you're going to do more of these, and it's going to be a thing. So, and I'm joking, but not joking because it's been a thing that people come on here and then they're on other things. So that's gonna be you. So
That's gonna be me. So I'm gonna see you at NAA.
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
get to
So
go.
so yes, but before we wrap up completely, what is one thing that you think people need to know about when they go to NAA to Philadelphia this year, Philly? What is it that they need to know about the area? What's something they need to check out, something they need to eat? You get one thing. What is it?
I am the worst person. And when I said it's only gonna get better from here, I have been in this area since 2014, so 10 years. I've never done the Rocky Steps, nor have I done a tour of Philly. I've driven through Philly, lots of traffic. So I've never done that. So I would hope that I get to do something like that. But this is my first NAA, and what a way to have my first NAA in Philly. So it's not like so intimidating. It's close to home. I'm actually a scholarship winner for NAA, as
Nice.
I did essay. And so I'm really excited. I'm really excited for the education. I'm really excited for the experience and I can't wait to dive in head first. But if it's one Philly thing, I would guess the Rocky Steps. I mean, you have to do
All
it.
right. So my boss actually brought this up. I'm teetering on doing like a run walk where we start where over next to where the conference center is because it's like a mile and a half one way from there to the Rocky Steps. So those that want to run can run, those that want to walk can walk, and we can walk there, go up the steps, take pictures with the statue, and walk back.
That's great. I did a 10K, and I will never say I ran a 10K. I did
I
10K
did. Okay. Yeah.
through Disney.
Okay.
Unless if there's characters involved, I'm not doing something like that again. But I'll meet you at the Rocky Steps.
But it's like a mile and a half. I mean, you take an Uber back.
Unless if there's characters involved or a Mickey pretzel, I am not doing that again.
So if I dress up like a character and
I love
have a
mascots.
pretzel,
Yeah, I absolutely love mascots. Love taking pictures with mascots. love it all. So yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll see. We'll see what
All
I
right.
can do. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of fun in Philly around all things apartmentalize. My company, we're going to do our second annual boss brunch. You, Dena, will be invited. Don't worry.
I love fun.
And we are going to eat some food, network, have fun. It's going to be Wednesday of that week. So mark your calendars and I will send you something to remind
Okay,
you.
excellent.
But other than that, it's going to be a great week. I'm super excited. Never really been able to explore Philly either. As I have more guests on from the Northeast and the Philly area, we will continue to learn a little bit about the area and what we should be doing. So, Dena, thank you
Good.
so much
I'll listen
again.
because I don't know.
Okay. Thank you so much for being here again. And just like she jumped on, she was nervous. She wasn't sure what she was going to do on this episode of Boss Talks, but she has passions, and you do too, I'm sure. So if you want to be on Boss Talks, if you want to be one of my guests, reach out because I will gladly meet you, talk to you, and host you on the show. This is a place for elevating all the bosses in the industry. So if you are a boss, I want to know you. And till next week, Wednesday, which next week might be a little weird. I am traveling. We'll see what happens, but it'll happen one way or another. But thanks everybody that was watching, participating, and cheering Dena on. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.